Hi guys, it's Tanya. So this video is going to be completely about doing the Golden Circle in Iceland for very little to no money. The very first thing I did to make this a very inexpensive trip was I got an extremely cheap flight. They had a sale where they had flights for $100 each way, direct from New York. But once you get to Iceland, it's actually very expensive compared to most countries. I rented a car, $50 a day, which is a little expensive for most cities, but since I slept in my car at a campground, that saved me some money on a hotel. Good morning, guys. I am at the airport. I just rented a car and the sun is coming up. It's absolutely beautiful and I'm really excited to start exploring Iceland. Hey guys, so I'm officially at my first stop, Þingvellir National Park, which is basically a big gorge, which is the separation between the Eurasian and North American plate tectonics. The weather is perfect. I got here and it was nearly empty, but it's really starting to fill up now. What's really cool about this place is that this is actually where North of the Wall is filmed in Game of Thrones. The great thing about the Golden Circle is that all the sites are free. You don't have to pay to enter. You may have to pay for parking like I do here at Þingvellir, but the actual sites are free and technically they're open 24/7, so you can really take your time. So now I've made it to the second stop on the Golden Circle tour, and the hour drive between Þingvellir and Geyser thermal field where I am right now really took a lot out of me. I'm really starting to feel the fact that I only had a few hours of sleep and then got up around 1 in the morning New York time. But right now I'm in Geyser geothermal field. And when you hear the word geyser, I don't know what you think of. I usually think of like Yellowstone National Park. The name actually came from a geyser that's here that's no longer active, but what is active is other geysers. The only active geyser here is the one behind me. There's active pools that are like bubbling and stuff, but this is the only geyser here, and it goes off about every 10 minutes, which is convenient, although it's easy to miss. And sometimes it'll go off after it's gone off already, like bam bam. So you really gotta wait for it, be patient. So I learned the hard way, don't stand downstream of the geyser. Even if you think that you're far enough back, you're probably not far enough back. You're gonna get sprayed a little. It wasn't that hot, but it was more of a shock, and my camera's not waterproof, so letting it air out a little bit. The third stop on the Gold Circle tour was Gullfoss Waterfall, which is fed by Iceland's second largest glacier, Langjökull.
Moving slow, all the days that passed had nowhere to go. I watched them slip away as far as I can see. I let them roll astray.
But I ended up splurging on my dinner last night just because I wanted to try something fun. But for all my other meals, I actually packed food with me that I ended up eating. I packed my own instant coffee for breakfast. I packed beef jerky. I packed all sorts of little dry snacks, chickpea snacks. And that was enough to get me through the day. So that's a lot of savings right there.
Through the window pane, where the sun was shining.
I've had a very exhausting day with very little sleep, so I think I've finally earned the right to a nice meal, which is why I'm here at this tomato farm, which is supposed to have good food too.
Time is moving still, and you are here with me. A house upon the hill.
For dinner, I went to a restaurant in a greenhouse that grows tomatoes. The place was very tomato-centric and even put tomatoes in the water. Dinner consisted of an all-you-can-eat tomato soup and bread buffet, which you could complement with sticks of add-ins like seafood and the complimentary garnishes.
There should ever be a storm or a
So last night I camped here in my car, in my rental car, in a campground in Selfoss, Iceland. You can see that I put up some t-shirts, and this is my towel with some safety pins to block the light in the windows, and it was pretty comfortable. It got colder than I expected, but luckily I had some backup plans, and I ended up going through all my backup plans in order to be warm, the very last of which was a Mylar blanket that I brought just in case, and I ended up using it and it worked great. Ideally, if you're going to camp, you're going to have a sleeping bag that's rated for the cold, but since I flew cheaply and I was only allowed a personal item on the plane, I couldn't really fit a sleeping bag into my luggage. I stayed here at a campground so that I had access to a shower and to a nice bathroom and, you know, a nice kitchen. And a great way to save money on the road is to cook for yourself, which you can absolutely do at a campground kitchen. But to camp here in Selfoss campgrounds, it was only 2,000 Icelandic dollars, which is about 20 US dollars, which is still a lot to just camp. But with the hot shower and the other amenities, it's pretty much worth it. So to do a final tally of how much this cheap Icelandic tour, the Golden Circle, cost me, it was $200 for the flight. The car cost me $50 to rent for one day. The campground cost me $2,000 Icelandic money, so that's about $20 USD. I brought food with me, so don't count that. It cost me 750 Icelandic dollars to park at one of the places I stopped at. I didn't put in gas yet. I can add that in later. And I used only about 1/8 of a tank for all that driving. And I didn't pay anything else except for dinner, so you have to factor that in. I paid 3,000 Icelandic dollars for dinner, but you could do it a lot cheaper if you go to a market. So the grand total is going to be here, and I think that's not bad for a destination trip to a foreign country where you get to see some amazing sights. Iceland is beautiful. It's full of amazing nature like you see nowhere else together, and I love it. I can't wait to explore more.